What's it going to take? What is it going to take for them to win that football game? And when I say them, I mean Nebraska or Colorado. What's it going to take? For Nebraska, I think they actually have a very key strength in this game. My question is, will they be able to utilize it? Offensively, they can win this game if they just make it ugly. If they make it a kind of game where it's low scoring and you're watching at home and saying, golly, Nebraska's had the football for all of the second quarter. Colorado's had one possession. What's going on here? And they're just taking their time, just matriculating the football down the field. It's Anthony Grant left. It's Gabe Ervin right. It's design quarterback run for Jeff Sims. Like, that would be the way that you would want to get down. Nebraska can win this football game if it's like 2017. The score, not the year. If they get to Shedeur Sanders defensively, that is the key for them. That is how they win the football game. The subplot is you can't sit in man coverage, which puts you in a little bit of a bind, because if you want to commit numbers, usually somebody has to be on an island somewhere, so be careful there. But if you can get to Shedeur Sanders, that would be a way to just throw this whole plot into a blender. Because Nebraska, I don't think defensively wants to make this a game where they just sit back and try to keep it all in front of them and all that. Like, they want to be aggressive here. Empty the clip. You're on the road. You're a 3-point underdog. You got some good team speed. Let's get after him if I'm Nebraska. Let's go and get Shedeur Sanders, because we can't let him sit back there and do what he does like TCU did and let him just throw for 400, 500 yards. That would be very, very concerning if I'm a Nebraska fan, if I see that kind of approach defensively. So let's be aggressive. Let's attack. And let's make this game sloppy, ugly, low scoring. That is how Nebraska wins this football game. Make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. The Hard Count live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. We want y'all a part of this. We're so glad to have you here because it's college football and nothing else. A lot of other shows that we love that are out there, we have no agenda. We have nothing besides the game that is played on Saturdays right here. That's all we're talking about. So thank you in advance for locking in and for being a part of this and being subscribed. Colorado, they win this football game, and it's all about swinging for the chin if you're Colorado. They can win this football game if they connect on some early punches. And I mean, we're watching this game at home, and it's Shedeur Sanders takes the snap, quick play action, Dylan Edwards across, safeties bite up. You say, oh, no, that's not good. Gus Johnson kind of starts speaking in a little bit more of a higher octave, and the volume gets turned up on his voice, and it's either Travis Hunter or it's Jimmy Horn. Downfield, Shedeur Sanders right in the breadbasket, strike up the band, Boulder's going crazy. Everybody that paid good money to have a ticket in that stadium is fired up. And oh, by the way, that's the first drive of the game for Colorado. And they get the ball back, and the same kind of deal. You hit Travis Hunter deep, touchdown. And just like that, we have 7 minutes to go in the first quarter, and Colorado's up 14-0. If that's the kind of game that becomes played, Nebraska cannot keep pace. I love Jeff Sims. I love Marcus Satterfield. They can't keep pace with that kind of approach. It's not built to turn on the afterburners and try and catch up to Colorado offensively. It's just that's not going to happen. So you can put this thing to bed early if you're Colorado. The line is -3 in favor of the Buffs. I'm telling you, they could cover that and then some if this game starts the way that it could. And I promise you, they will be aggressive early, especially if they get man coverage. We say it on here a lot. If they play man coverage on Travis Hunter or Jimmy Horn, game, set, match, game blouses. Like, that's going to be the way that this thing goes for Colorado. All right? Defensively, if they can force some turnovers like they did last week, you give your offense extra shots at the end zone, just like we were saying a second ago, I think that favors Colorado 110%. Because what Nebraska can't afford to be feeling like in this game is doing the math in their head of, okay, well, if we get a possession here, then we can maybe onside kick it, and then we can find a way to answer. Okay, well, we're still about 2 possessions away. Like, if that's the math you're doing in your head, if you're Nebraska, we got issues. What I was just saying a second ago is the same deal offensively as it is defensively. If they can get extra bullets for Shedeur Sanders, they're going to be in really good shape. And Jeff Sims now, we can't have that 3-turnover kind of game. We can't have a 4-turnover game as an offense if we want to have a chance in this one. If it becomes that kind of situation where they turn the ball over 3 times, Colorado's going to cover, and they're going to cover with ease. So what does a win mean for either team? For Nebraska, a win would be kind of resetting the trajectory of 2023. Because if you're a Nebraska fan and you go through the schedule early and you go win-loss, 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 before the season even gets started, you probably had your team going either 1-1, maybe 2-0 if you're optimistic. I personally had them at 1-1. This was a game that you had down as a win. And you start looking down the rest of the schedule, and you're like, okay, if we want to make a bowl game, a loss here would really mess up that whole destination for them, because then it would be games against NIU you're hoping is a win, against Louisiana Tech you're hoping is a win, against Northwestern you're hoping is a win. That's 3. Purdue maybe, Iowa maybe. We still don't even know what they're going to be. That's 5. Are we stealing one against Wisconsin? Are we stealing one against Ohio State? Like, I don't know. I don't know about all that. I say Ohio State. I believe they actually play Michigan and not Ohio State. They avoid 2 of those big 3. I know that. But regardless, for Nebraska, you start counting the wins. It's not the way you want to live. Not the way you want to live. For Colorado, it's kind of funny. I think the entire public outside of the people in Boulder, Colorado, and the people that are in that building, this is house money for them. Now, they have higher expectations than what the world is setting upon them, because Vegas said 3.5 wins. Now, to be clear, we did say over. We did not say over by very much. We had them at 4 wins. This looks like a football team is going to do more than that as we sit here in week 1, heading into week 2. It would just pour more jet fuel on the hype train that is Deion Sanders. It would just boost recruiting. It would boost momentum of the entire operation. Like what happened last week against TCU, it would further validate and solidify that Colorado's a team that you have to take seriously. That game September 30th, now they play USC. Start peeking at the calendar and say, that's going to be a good one. Give me the over, whatever it is in that game. The hype train starts to get even more juice. But a loss now, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people waiting to just say, I told you so. Told you it wasn't going to work. Told you that was just a flash in the pan. TCU must not be very good. They lost a lot on offense. Told you so. That's what they're waiting to say. Now, if they lose this game, to be clear, we will not say that. We think Colorado wins this football game. But there's a lot of naysayers that are just waiting to tell you that last week was a fluke and that it's not going to work at Colorado and that they should have enjoyed that moment, because this is going to be where they are the rest of the year, is riding the L train, okay? But regardless, man, going to be a great game. Fox Big Noon. Anytime you got Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson on the call, you're set up for a good afternoon. But excited to watch that one. That's what it will take for both teams to get a dub in Boulder. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.